Hello everyone, St James Cathedral and the online audience. My apologies that we're starting just a hair late. These players have had an incredibly busy day. They're here to give a concert for you. You should feel very, very lucky. My name is Robbie Ellis. I'll be hosting this pre-concert talk here at St James Cathedral from this Rush Hour concert, the final in this summer's series from the International Music Foundation. And we have an octet of string players. We have 8 members of the Grant Park Orchestra, including the 4 members of the Project Inclusion String Quartet. They're young fellows. We'll be delighted to meet them all. So let me introduce them to you. So on my left, we have Alison Lovera, one of the fellows from Project Inclusion. Across from me, we have, you can wave, Walter Haman, who is principal cello of the Grant Park Orchestra, and when it's not quite so hot, he lives in Utah with the Utah Symphony. And next to him, Cole Randolph, who's with the Project Inclusion String Quartet. So, yeah, Walter, it's been a busy day and a busy week, has it not?
Well, that's par for the course for us. Yeah, busy summer.
Yeah. No, of course, not lately. I mean, did you ever imagine that you would, during the pandemic, I'm assuming you missed this pace of busyness. Did you ever imagine you'd actually miss it?
You know, every year by the end of the summer, we're also exhausted. We think, oh, this is, we're just crazy. But then throughout the year, what are we doing? We're looking forward to getting back. So yes, of course, during the pandemic, we were all just waiting to get back to it. Yeah.
Wonderful. I'm going to hand this microphone to Alison shortly. So you're a member of the Project Inclusion String Quartet. If I'm not mistaken, you just got a full-time orchestral job. Is that right? Yes. Okay. Just named to the Minnesota Orchestra. Round of applause, everybody. And I'd love you to talk about your Chicago connections. I mean, like me, you immigrated to Chicago from a place far away.
So hi everybody, good afternoon. So yeah, I emigrated to Chicago. I came directly here from Venezuela. I was a member of El Sistema. I was orchestral musician for a long time there. And well, because of the detrimental political, social, and economical situation in Venezuela, I had to take the decision to leave the country to help my family. So I had this friend who studied with a super famous violin teacher here called Mrs. Almita Vamos. And he was like, you should contact her. I'm pretty sure she's gonna help you. So the first thing I did was send her an email saying hey, I'm very interested, this is me. I sent her a video. And I said, can I go with you to a summer camp so we can get to know each other to see if in the future I can audition for your studio? And she was like, no, just come here. I'll get you the full ride. Just come here. I'll have you in Roosevelt. So it was a pretty funny trip because I had to fly the country before than I thought. So I had to get out of Venezuela, go in a flight from Venezuela to Panama, take a bus 20-something hours from Panama to Costa Rica, lived in Costa Rica 2 months. I worked there to make more money. And after I came here with only $500 in my pocket. And yeah, I'm here now. I graduated from Roosevelt in 2019. I had to redo my undergrad. That's why I finished early. I finished in 3 years. I graduated with honors, which it makes me very happy. And yay. And yeah, so that's my connection to Chicago. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Yeah, Almita Vamos, legendary violin teacher to the likes of Rachel Barton Pine and Jennifer Coe, and a whole number of kids who appear on Introductions, Classical WFMT, 11 o'clock every Saturday morning. Got to get that in there. Cole, I'd love to meet you. You've just graduated from Badger University or something like that.
Yes, I just graduated. Well, I graduated a year ago.
Oh, I see.
I'm from UW-Madison, so if there's any Badgers in the house, wave. Go Badgers. Yeah.
talk to me about your choice of double degree. So you're a cellist, but also a mathematician. Why'd you combine those two?
And on top of that, economist. So economist. But yeah, it sounds glamorous when I tell people, oh, I majored in math, econ, and music, but a lot of it was because of indecisiveness. So when I got to Wisconsin, my dream was to be the mayor of DC, so I was a political science major. And my mom's actually an engineer, so she was the type of person that said, even though you don't need math courses, you fulfilled all the requirements, you still have to take math. So I continued just to take math courses. I was in the School of Music my freshman year, but I didn't play in high school. I just focused on basketball, so I was, top of the class in my quote-unquote academic classes, but when I came to the School of Music, I felt like I had to do a lot of catch-up. So after my freshman year, I took a year and a half off to focus on math and economics because it came easy to me, and then I felt like God was calling me back to cello, so I came back to cello and tagged the degree back on. So it did add on 2 extra years to my undergrad, but it was worth it. So
I'm guessing this is the first significant period of time you've spent in Chicago. In the great Midwestern tradition, how do you like it?
It's actually not my first significant time in Chicago. So when I focused on math and economics, I actually spent a summer here doing math research at U Chicago with Dr. Benson Farb. I don't know if anybody knows him, but that was an eye-opening experience for me because it showed me that I liked math, but I didn't like it for its beauty, but I just liked it for the technical aspects of it. So I was not the math for math's sake type of person. I was more, let's crunch these numbers and solve this equation, that type of person. So
given you have so many options, I mean, you've currently got I think a fellowship, is it, at the Detroit Symphony Orchestra?
Detroit Symphony,
yeah. How's that going?
It's great. I mean, we kept the music playing throughout the pandemic. A lot of nasal swabs throughout that time, which weren't the best, but it was, safety first. And it's great. Like we played, I think, most of the time there was no audience, but sometimes there were 5 people, and it felt like 500 when we just had those 5. So honestly, playing this summer with the audiences, when we do even the children's concerts or the concerts on Thursdays night out in the parks, and Grant Park Orchestra concerts, it's like we're playing to a whole stadium because we were playing for Zoom for the most part over the pandemic. It's a lot of Zoom performances and things like that. So,
well, let's talk about the music on the program. 2 pieces. We'll get to the Mendelssohn Octet very shortly. But first, a composer who's probably going to be less familiar than Felix Mendelssohn, Bruce A. Russell, who may well be watching from Toronto right now. Which one's my camera? It's like, hi, I got lots of cameras. Hi, Bruce. Also goes by the name of El Mahboub or Ibrahim Al Mahboub. I believe that he started more in the art pop, experimental pop world, released lots of things on cassette when, cassette was, I guess cassette's always been quite underground. Yeah, but the music shows, I hear a bit of minimalism in the music, sort of Glass Riley in there, influences of art pop. Who'd like to say something about Linea Nigra, the piece here? Linea Nigra, yeah.
When we first, I'll give you the behind the scenes. So when we first looked at the page, we said, okay, when we looked at Mendelssohn, it's a whole bunch of, black on the page, so a whole bunch of notes. We're like, oh, okay, we had to make sure everything is together, this, that, and the third. And we looked at his piece, and it seemed very straightforward, on the page, but we started to rehearse it, and the more and more we rehearsed, it was just like peeling back layers of an onion. Like you keep peeling, and there's just more and more, and it's so beautiful. It's more difficult than it sounds to make sure everything lines up, but throughout the piece there's no vibrato. So usually, if you want to make a note more colorful, or sometimes if people are out of tune, it's easy to vibrate to make it sound like the note is in tune, but this is very transparent and exposed, but it's a beautiful piece.
I think it's also very interesting that it's called Linea Negra because It's supposed to define when women get pregnant. There is a black line that shows up in the pregnancy, in the belly. So he wanted to like reflect that aspect with he's looking for his identity and like, you know, like survival. Like it's all related to the black line of the women line in the belly. It's very interesting.
Bit of a double meaning in there, the passing on heritage, that sort of thing, black line. And then also on the program, Felix Mendelssohn's Octet. Walter, I have to say that whenever this turns up on a concert program or on the radio, I feel thoroughly inadequate, because Felix Mendelssohn wrote this when he was 16 and not only wrote a great piece of chamber music, but kind of invented a brand new form of not just a double string quartet, but 8 merged players. I'm guessing you've played it a number of times throughout your career, and what do you think of the piece?
Confession time?
Yeah?
First time playing it.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And I'm not a spring chicken. But yeah, first time playing it. You know, it's a challenge for us because, as you said, in some ways it's a double string quartet, but then he doesn't just stick with that. He's always mixing around the voices and who's playing with whom at this moment, and one line will start in the 4th violin to the 3rd to the 2nd to the 1st. It's passing all over the place, and it's so brilliant. But it also provides a great difficulty for us as players putting the piece together, because it is such a large ensemble that creates its own issues just right there. But then just always figuring out, okay, who am I with right now? And you know, we're matching articulation and phrasing, and it's been really, really fun with these guys. These 4 have been playing together as a string quartet for quite a while, and they're so accomplished, and it's been a joy for us to get to join with them.
I've got to mention that these 2, Alison and Cole, plus 2 others you'll see, have one last concert as a string quartet coming up this Thursday at Lakeshore Park. So that's Chicago Avenue and Lakeshore, quite close to here. What's going to be on that program, Alison?
We're going to be performing a movement of the 2nd Violin Quartet. We're also playing Voodoo Dolls by Jessie Montgomery. This is one of my favorite pieces in the program. It's very fun. We're also doing Prospective Dwellers by Tamika Reed, and a movement of the quartet called The Survivor by Ikli Sitela, who's also a Venezuelan composer, and a very fun piece called The Waltzing Cat. Go to the concert and you'll know what it's called like that.
I think you're responsible for the cat, is that correct? Did I see you at Harrison Park also responsible for the dog noise? Yes. Every concert. So one last concert from the Project Inclusion String Quartet. That's a Grant Park Music Festival concert, not in Millennium Park, also not in Grant Park, but in Lakeshore Park, right in this neighborhood. Now, I promised I'd let you go. These players, they had a double rehearsal day. They're giving you a concert in 10 minutes. Just one quick notice. This is, of course, the last in the series of Rush Hour concerts for this year. However, keep an eye on the International Music Foundation website for next year, imfchicago.org. And, of course, the International Music Foundation also runs the Dame Myra Hess Memorial Concerts. There's a cello and piano program. And Hillary from the Grant Park Music Festival would love me to say that there are a couple more programs left in the Grant Park Music Festival happening this Wednesday and this Friday and Saturday. So please give a round of applause for Cole, Walter, and Alison, who you'll be seeing in 10 minutes' time.
Thank you so much.
This Rush Hour concert, the last in the series for 2021 here in St. James Cathedral. I'm Robbie Ellis. This concert is presented by the International Music Foundation, which is grateful for support from the Claire, Rush Hour Concert's exclusive media sponsor, the National Endowment for the Arts, and the Illinois Arts Council. On today's program is Linea Nigra by Bruce A. Russell and the Octet for Strings by Felix Mendelssohn. Now please welcome the Project Inclusion String Quartet, Alison Lovera, Audrey Lee, Edwardo Rios, and Cole Randolph, joined by 4 other members of the Grant Park Orchestra, Jeremy Black, Ying Chai, Terri Van Valkinburgh, and Walter Haman.
Thank you.